is freeway is a great way to travel from place to place, right? You're going to be traveling at a much higher rate of speed. You can get where you're going. Some of the freeway systems are very busy and a bit overwhelming, but they are still the best way to get places in a hurry because the speed limits are often very high. Like in Wisconsin, it's 70 miles per hour. If you're going to travel a long distance, there's no better way to do it than the freeway. Gawking is one of those things where it becomes a problem on the freeway. This is a little comic about that. As soon as there's an accident or an incident on the side of the road, everybody has to slow down and look, and that's what causes the traffic jams. It's one of the issues of freeway driving. But freeway driving definitely involves sharing the road with all different types of vehicles. Vehicles pulling trailers and semi trucks and buses and just lots of different vehicles out on the freeway system. And you're going to have to give yourself more space depending on the type of vehicle that you're behind. And you're going to have to share the road. Some people are driving more slowly, more fastly. You're going to have old people, young people. So it just requires some cooperation, good social skills. Because of the higher free speeds, again, if a collision on the freeway, it can be much more devastating. There can be significant damage to your vehicle if you collide with the higher speeds. So it's really important that you look further down the road. One of the problems with freeways is when the traffic does slow down, if you're not scanning the road far enough, when the car directly in front of you slams on their brakes, there just may not be enough time for you to notice that and to get on the brake yourself and to begin to slow down. And so all of your cushion of space can be evaporated in an instant if you're following too closely. At a minimum, you want 4 seconds following distance, but you really need to be scanning the road about a quarter of a mile ahead. The idea is if the car in front of you needs to brake because he sees something ahead of him, ideally you want to see the same thing that he saw. So in theory, you both begin to slow down at the exact same time. So there's no delay in your response. Merging onto the freeway, accelerating up to freeway speed is really important before you merge. So the on-ramp, we call it the on-ramp, it's really the acceleration lane. That's the technical term for it. So the acceleration lane is used to accelerate, and you want to be at freeway speed when you enter the merging area. So the merging area is that little bit of pavement where you have to, move in between the cars that are on the freeway. Now, people may move over for you to accommodate you, or they may not, but you still need to get up to freeway speed so that when you do merge, you're not going to cause some kind of a backup behind you. So if you're the green car here, notice that the green car, these dotted lines right here, see what he's doing? He's scanning the road. As he's accelerating, or she, they're accelerating and scanning at the same time. They know where they're going to merge before they get to this merging area down here. And again, a very important bit of information for getting onto the freeway. It's a common error for students, and we have to really encourage you that when you're getting onto the freeway, you really got to hit the gas pedal. You got to punch it. A lot of the cars we drive and other driving schools will be using will be, generally small 4-cylinder vehicles that don't have a lot of power, and so you really got to put your foot into it, and the engine will come alive, and suddenly, it'll start making a lot of noise. It's not going to, it's not a rocket, but it's going to accelerate more quickly. And that's right. That's what you want to do. You want to really lay your foot into it. Just get up to speed. Get right up to the freeway speed. Pick your spot as you approach the merging area, and then merge in. That's how it's done. All right. Don't cross early though. So if you look at this red car here, you'll see this a lot around Wisconsin where you have a solid white line. Don't ditch in like that. You've got to stay until you get a dotted line and then merge. It is illegal to merge early. You can get a ticket for that. Also, you got to be careful that somebody's not going to merge into you. So you might be merging on, and somebody might be merging over, coming from the opposite direction, and you could collide in between. So scan the road, make sure you got a good spot, keep your head about yourself, and merge in. Some of the problems that people experience while merging, maybe there's another vehicle in front of you and he's going too slow. He's not getting up to speed. So that'll dump you onto the freeway just going too slow. And there's not much you can do to avoid that. but it happens. Also, there could be a short acceleration lane. So you don't really have time to get up to speed. Well, again, there's not much you can do with that. But you just, if you're super aggressive and really floor the gas pedal, I mean, you can pick up a lot of speed in a short distance. There could be heavy traffic on the freeway or in the merge lane that also could restrict you from getting up to speed. And you just have to make adjustments appropriately. Debris, stopped vehicles, slick pavement, all this can also be a big factor getting up to speed. So following distance, always a 4 seconds following distance minimum. When there's bad weather, big trucks blocking your view, because if you're too close behind a truck, it just blocks the entire roadway scene. You can't see anything around them. If you have someone tailgating you, or if the road conditions are bad, especially. Also in heavy traffic, when I'm driving on a freeway with lots of heavy traffic, I give myself more following distance because I know that there's going to be a lot of braking, and I don't want this accordion effect where the car in front of me brakes and maybe I'm looking in my mirror at the time and I run into the back of them. So in this graphic over here, it illustrates that rear-ending collisions. If the person had less than 2 seconds following distance, 47% of the rear end collisions, the person was following too closely. 17% had greater than 2 seconds. So if you're following too closely, it's going to double your chance for a rear end collision, basically is what this is saying. All right, and measuring the following distance. So a good simple way to measure the following distance is when the vehicle in front of you passes a stationary object, you begin to count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. When you get to 4, you should be at that object. If you get there too soon, back off. You know, if you get there too late, even better. Changing lanes. Believe it or not, changing lanes is probably one of the more challenging things that you're going to have to do as a driver. I don't know of anything else. Getting onto the freeway, the lane merge is a challenge, but changing lanes is a significant skill for a new driver. For whatever reason, even for an experienced driver, it really kind of puts you to the test as far as your vehicle control and the cooperation with people around you. But always check your blind spot, right? Before you start to change lanes, you need to make sure that nobody's in your blind spot, because the last thing you want to do is start to move over and then clip a car and cause you to crash. Also, make sure you signal. That way cars around you know that you're trying to make a lane change. Quick word about your turn signals. So if you got your hand on your steering wheel and you need to signal, normally you just push the lever all the way down and it blinks, blink, 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 and you make your turn, and then when you straighten out your wheel, the turn signal goes off automatically. That's great. However, on a lane change, you don't want to set your turn signal, because then you got to manually turn it off, because you're not going to turn the opposite direction with the wheel. That won't cancel the turn signal. So your signals are set up so that if you hold it down a little bit, it'll flash about 3 or 4 times, like click, 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 click. It'll just flash, and then you can just release it. So you do what we call hold and release. So you just hold it, let it flash 3 or 4 times, do your lane change, and then release it. Now some cars will do that automatically. You just tap it 1 time and it'll flash like 4 times. So you don't even have to hold it anymore. You just tap it. And I think most new cars will do that. It's important that you accelerate as you do a lane change. Don't get in the habit of hitting your brakes. When we're with our students, sometimes we'll say, okay, let's get in the left lane. The first thing they do is hit the brake, which is really not what you want to do at all. Seldom do you have to hit your brake for a lane change. You may, but it's pretty seldom. Really just maintain your speed, signal, check your blind spot, give yourself a double check, and then gradually move over. It's a good idea to help others get onto the freeway by moving over for them. It's a very courteous thing to do. If you're the green car, move over to the left lane. Let the red car get onto the freeway. And this is the graphic on that. So once you're on the freeway, there are some potential problems. Debris is a really big problem. Trucks and trailers, they drop their stuff on the road. If you hit that, it could do significant damage to your car. It could even kill you if it's a big object. Also, people merging into your lane without seeing that you're there. So if you're in somebody's blind spot and they just move over on you, they may not look, they may not check their blind spot, and if they move over, you're gonna have a collision. Highway hypnosis is a real problem, and this is where people are driving for so long on the freeway that they just kind of they get super tired and they kind of lose focus. If you feel like you're getting tired, it's time to take a break. Pull off, use the facility somewhere, take a break, and kind of get your head back. Velocitation is this psychological phenomena where you get sort of used to the world passing you by at 65 miles per hour, and then when you get off the freeway, 25 will feel like you're just standing still. And so what happens is people tend to speed after they get off of a freeway drive, and then they get a ticket. So when you exit a freeway, you just kind of readjust your thinking so that, okay, speed limit is 25, let me not speed here. Also, of course, falling asleep is a real problem. You're just tired and there's not much going on. The car's kind of just driving along, especially if you have cruise control set. If you're tired, don't set your cruise control. It will make you monitor the speed, because if you fall asleep with it set, you're going to crash at whatever speed you set. If you fall asleep without it being on, maybe you'll slow down before you crash. Road construction can be a real hazard, right? And also disabled vehicles on the side of the road. Exiting the freeway. So exiting the freeway is not a big deal. Normally it involves, changing lanes, get to the right lane, preparing for your exit, making sure that you're exiting at the right spot. You want to signal well in advance, let people know you're going to be exiting, but maintain your speed. And so when you signal, don't start slowing down. A lot of times you'll see that somebody will signal, they're starting to do their lane, their exit, but even before they get onto the off-ramp, they start to slow down. You exit the freeway at freeway speed. If you slow down in advance, you're going to cause problems behind you. The off-ramp, we call it, is the actual term for it is deceleration lane. So you have an acceleration lane to get on, you have a deceleration lane to get off. So you do all of your accelerating on the on-ramp, and you do all of your decelerating on the off-ramp. So exiting the freeway, keep your speed up until you get off onto the off-ramp. Don't hit the brakes until you're clear of the speed lane. The speed lane is the lane where people are going freeway speed. So it would look, again, like that. Just exit and then slow down. Now sometimes you have to change multiple lanes because your exit comes up quicker than you expect. So you may have to go to the next exit. Also, maybe the off-ramp is full of vehicles. There's a backup on the off-ramp. You may not have a choice but to slow down in advance. But I'd be very, very, very careful about what's going on behind me, checking my rearview mirror, making sure that nobody's coming up so fast that they don't see me slowing down and they might run into the back of me. Also, bad ramp conditions. It could be a curvy off-ramp or snow-covered, so you may have to adjust. There's always exceptions to every rule. But if there's no reason to slow down in advance, don't slow down in advance. Exit at full speed. And then slow down. Lots of different type of interchanges. So you'll see cloverleaf interchanges, all directional, trumpets, and different types of intersections. Wisconsin has some new types of intersections that are coming out that we'll talk more about at some point.